Welcome, everybody, back to These Aren't the Nerds You're Looking For. Lorenzo and Kevin here, sitting with...
Kevin Horde. What's up, buddy?
Not much. Just, we're recording this right on November 4th. Release of Star Wars Resistance, The Children from Tehar. Just adjusting to the daylight saving time.
Yeah, we're in saving time now?
No, we are back on standard time.
That's what I thought, but then I was listening to... I want to say like NPR yesterday, and they were talking about how daylight savings time was going to start Saturday night into Sunday morning, and I was like, that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, somebody misspoke.
Man,
for sure.
She misspoke like 4 times in a row then.
Because this is something, it's a small pet peeve, and I understand it, and I understand how to look past it, but it's still one of my pet peeves where when you are abbreviating time zones, and it happens to me because I have to schedule a lot of guests for things at work, and we'll be Skyping in, whether it be a call in or meeting or whatever, and I'll set a time for 10 a.m.
Right.
And if it's in the summer, I will specify that I mean Pacific, because sometimes these people are in New York or whatever, and I will put, if it's in the summer, PDT.
Right.
Right.
Pacific Daylight Time.
Right. They'll email me back and go, great, so that'll work out because that's 1 o'clock EST. And I'm like, yeah, son of a bitch.
Nope, it's EDT.
Yeah, we are in daylight time. I understand. I'm not going to call you out, but I mean, just like, it's the G.I. Joe part of me where it's like, the more you know.
Yeah, I think that you actually'd me on that one, and corrected my error at one point in time, and I was like, totally makes sense, and you are 100% correct. And I have been cognizant of it since then. Before that, it was probably just not something that I thought about.
It's just, and I understand it. Like, it's just one of those things, because you just see it and you don't think about it.
Well, I'm from the Midwest, so I grew up like everything on TV was like, like 9, 8 Central or whatever. And it was, I always remember it being like EST, CST. But like year round. So I don't ever remember when something was advertised on television, it's saying CDT.
What's a D?
Right.
And I'm not going to lie, I haven't noticed it lately, but I haven't watched as much live TV as much in the last handful of years even.
Right.
I
don't
will
think
say,
anybody has.
Right. But when I do, I do notice, like, today's show, I'm a NBC News watcher for my, like, morning traffic reports. But they've been doing a good job of, putting PDT versus PST. But, yeah, I haven't seen anything too incorrect when it comes to television premiere dates and times.
Right.
But all the same, I agree with you. Growing up, I only noticed the S in the middle, and I never noticed when it switched to a D, if it did at all.
I don't know if it did or not.
Yeah, but I'm curious now to see if it does. This, and the simple thing is just to put PT or ET or CT, Central Time.
Yeah.
Right. So.
But doesn't Indiana not use daylight saving?
The ones for sure I know of are Arizona and Hawaii.
Okay, I thought Indiana was included in that.
There
but
might
I could be
be
wrong.
There might be certain counties of certain states that skip out, but I know Arizona as a whole and Hawaii as a whole skip.
And so that we're clear, everybody knows that it's daylight saving time, not daylight savings times.
Yes, yeah. If you want to get real pedantic, I agree. It's daylight saving time. You're trying to save the singular daylight that we have.
Not multiple daylights at multiple times.
Right. I don't there's an interesting thing on the ballot here to get into neutral politics and not anything hardcore heavy duty. But one of the propositions that California is voting on is giving our Congress the power to change daylight saving time if they so please. Not that the prop itself won't change anything in regards to saving time, but it will give Congress the ability to decide to never have daylight saving time, or alternately
to change the dates.
Or we go permanent daylight saving time.
You know, I always
Those are
thought
two
that
options.
maybe an option, instead of like an hour this way, an hour that way, like just change the clocks like a half an hour and just leave it that way all the time, and you'd be good.
Right.
Theoretically. I mean, you just split the difference.
The weird thing about the way time zones work is, growing up in West Michigan, we were about as far west in the Eastern time zone as you could get.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we had the same time zone as New York and Maine.
Right.
You know, so the discrepancies in actual sunlight between these two cities, right?
Were a lot.
Right. So, like, for New York, they get the sun bright and early. And then for us in West Michigan, we got the sun, like, in the summer, you know, by 10:30, there'd just be, like, even just the smallest little faint hint of twilight. You know, just, like, the little brightness in the sky. I'm not saying, like pinkish clouds or anything. You know, you'd see the
And you're saying in
radiation.
the evening?
Yeah, in the evening, in the summers, you know, if you're outside. That's why, like, fireworks in Grand Rapids, Michigan didn't go off until closer to 10 o'clock, right? But Chicago...
That sucks.
Right. It was kind of crappy. It was fine. It's just what I grew up with. But, you know, then you go to Chicago, which is far east central time zone, and that sun goes down real fast, real early. And here in LA, we're kind of right in the middle, you know, splitting the difference there too. So Disneyland fireworks, they go off at 9:30, no problem, and it's nice and dark. By 9 o'clock in the summers, it's super dark, you know. But then today, now that we're out of daylight saving time, sunset was at like 4:53 or something like that. Where I was at.
Yeah, I didn't even pay attention, but I know once we get solid into winter here, I mean, like, fucking 4:30, it's dark.
Right. Yep. That's how it is here, too. 4:30, it's like pitch black. Going home sucks. But personally, I like that hour of daylight in the evening. But if we were to permanently go, essentially, we would shift into Mountain Time Zone permanently, right? If that is the decision that is made.
That's weird.
It would kill me to never have a true noon. That's the thing that would kill me, right?
So weird.
So I think daylight saving time personally is dumb. I don't think we need it. It messes everybody up. And the studies have come in that it really doesn't save energy or anything. It just creates more stress for people. And
I mean, it's a thing that happened that was necessary in the past, as we have talked about before on the show, and it's not necessary, you know, anymore.
No, not at all. We are in a different world than when it went in. But to begin with, federally, we're already under daylight saving time more than we are actually under standard time. So we're off time for more of the year than we are on correct solar time, as you might want to say, right? So
I like your designation of solar time.
Solar time, man.
I have heard that there's a group of individuals out there, I don't know where their base is located, but they want to eradicate time zones in general, so that it's just like Earth time. So I guess that would mean, you know, if you were in New York and your workday started at 7 a.m., then that would just be It would still be 7 a.m. on the West Coast, but businesses would start their day at 10 a.m. there, I guess. I don't like this idea. I'm just saying that I've heard that this is an idea.
So there is a precedent for this. There is a country that spans what would equivalently be 4 time zones, I believe, but the same as the United States. They would span the same, what is that? Longitude? No. Longitude goes up and down. Latitude, right? So east to west. They span the same latitude as...
No, you had it right the first time. Latitude goes up and down like a ladder. Longitude is long, around.
I thought... Here's how I always remembered it. And that, please double check me. Longitude, I always... Because the way they're being measured, they're all equally long around because they're measuring up, down. I could be wrong. I'm so wrong.
Latitude is the angular distance north or south of the equator.
Okay, so I got it right the first time. Okay. Here's what I'm imagining. So, okay, here's what I'm imagining. So I'm imagining the rings themselves.
Uh-huh.
And what I fucked up is that what I need to imagine is where the rings are and not how far up and down the rings I'm talking about.
Okay.
So my thinking in trying to remember which way is right, I just measured wrong. Anyways, this is what happens when time changes and my mind gets all fucked up. China is one time zone, the whole fucking thing.
Really?
So it all goes based off of Beijing time, and the far west end of China essentially has the sun rising at like 10 o'clock or noon, and then the sun in the summer can set at midnight is a thing that can happen.
That is so weird. I'm looking at a map.
Right? So, yeah, China spans, the latitude. No, fuck. Did I fuck it up again?
The longitude.
The longitude. Yeah, that's. So it spans the same longitude of time zones that the United States does, but operates under one time zone because communism, you can't argue with it, and why the fuck not, I guess.
Hey, they want everybody on the same page as far as what fucking time of day it is, so...
I guess.
I mean, I don't know.
I guess. Anyways, that is our biannual daylight saving time discussion.
Cue loud music.
And we're done. We did it. No, we are here to discuss The Children from Tehar, as I think I mentioned at the beginning of this episode.
It's possible.
So, very possible. So, November 4th, 2018, this episode premiered today. We gave it a watch. I will just run through really quickly all the major plot points. And as normal for these episodes, because this is an ongoing series, we will give a hearty spoiler alert. I will discuss the entire episode, run through the entire plot points. I will try and be quick about it. And then Kevin and I will discuss afterwards how we felt about this episode.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Ready to go?
Let's go.
All right. So we start this episode back on the Colossus with Kaz, Tam, and Nuku. Tam and Nuku are fixing a ship. Kaz wants to help out, but Tam, she says no. She's like, no. All you do is fuck shit up, basically.
Yeah, my note is Tam says, no, you suck.
Right, basically. So they need 3 hands for a thing, so Kaz is allowed to help fix the ship. Kaz somehow fucks up, and it's a simple thing as... we're all going to turn these screws left, and Kaz somehow fucks that shit up, which is really fucking annoying.
Can I interject real quick? And this is so normally when you tighten something, you turn it to the right. So in this instance, Kaz is correct. And this is where things like clockwise and counterclockwise are very, very helpful, because then people don't misinterpret what their expectation is.
I don't disagree. It's just that she says to the left, and the orientation of which the tool is on said thingy.
Yeah, but you don't know what the orientation of the bolt is.
I don't disagree, but you can see where his
spanner is. I agree.
Right. And he definitely turns it to the right and not left.
Correct. So
I get what you're saying, but like placement on the thing, if you're looking at it.
I'm the only reason I bring it up is because I've worked with guys working on automobiles or whatever, working on something that has a bolt and a nut, and they'll be like underneath the truck. And I'm like, dude, are you turning it the right way? And they're like, oh, wait, well, yeah, so I'm underneath it, so it's upside down. I'm like, no, it's not.
No, it's still
like based the way that the thing is turning, it's based on the direction of whatever it is going into. So
exactly. I agree with you there, but in this instance, it's, again, just the way... It's the same thing, because it's the way it's being put into the thing, and... yeah, he still fucks it up. Anyways, okay, I'm going to barrel through, okay?
Yep, sorry.
Okay, so Kaz, feeling defeated by a simple mechanical error, goes to drink his sorrows out at Aunt Z's. He is broke, however, and Niku helps him out really quickly. He overhears...
And it is to note that him turning this bolt the wrong way, like, destroyed this inertial compensator, and Tam says... you broke it, you pay to fix it, get me a new one. And she does say that they are ultra rare and super expensive. We can get back to that later.
Yes. So this, good point, plays into the next thing where he overhears from another bar patron that there is a 20,000 credit reward for the discovery of 2 children that are lost. Somebody has put out some sort of reward, bounty, whatever you want to call it. So we cut to these 2 kids sneaking around the market. They steal some food. They definitely seem scared. They literally run into Kaz in the market, who is looking for these children.
I like that you say literally, because literally is not a word that I throw around a lot, but literally in my notes it says they literally run into Kaz, Nico, and BB.
They physically smash into them. Kaz offers to help, but the kids, very scared, they run away. So Niku offers to ask around for some help locating these children. Niku takes Kaz to the lower levels of the Colossus. He calls it engineering level. And they are filled with Chelide. Is that how he pronounced it? Chelide? It's Chelidaae.
Okay, I didn't have the closed captioning on, and what I heard was Chalopi. But throughout the rest of the episode, they call them shell folk.
Shell folk, yeah. They look like...
They're Teenage Mutant Ninja
Turtles, yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah, like they're more anthropomorphic, like cartoon turtles.
Yep.
Rather than like human proportioned Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Yep. They're proportioned like the kind of turtle that Mickey Mouse would flip under and play the xylophone on the ribs.
Agreed.
Sort of turtles.
And they have some sort of gecko-like feet because they can like climb walls or something.
Yeah,
They're like Spider-Man, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. And they are very slow. Much like Flash the Sloth from Zootopia. They kind of have a slow manner of movement about them, which I find interesting.
Yep.
Niku mentions that they are the maintenance workers of the platform. So when shit goes wrong on the platform, they are the invisible force underneath that gets things working.
Correct.
So therefore, because they are around everywhere, they will be able to help figure out where these children are. As Kaz and Niku and BB-8 start to leave this lower level, there is a robot that is conveniently right there at the door as they're exiting.
She does say it was hard to find you, but she
Right.
did. But she did find Kaz.
Kaz, yeah. So she is looking for Kaz specifically. Captain Doza requests his presence for some sort of meeting. They head on in. Doza asks about these children and if they know anything about the whereabouts of these kids.
Because he does say, I hear that you were seen in the marketplace with these kids. That's why I wanted to talk to you. That's why you're here. And then they have a little conversation.
And Kaz does offer up, when he ran into the children earlier, one of the kids had a wristband on with some sort of, I don't know what to call it. It's like a charm, but it wasn't like linked in.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
just called it the symbol tile.
right. It's like a weird tile that sat on top of the dude's bracelet and then popped off, but I don't know if he's been traversing space, how it stayed on before until he just bumps into BB-8. I don't know. But he does offer this over to Doza, Kaz, that is, offers it to Doza and is like, hey, well, I found this off one of the kids. I don't know what it is, but here you go. And Doza does bring up some interesting points where it's like, hey, did you ever stop to think about why these children are on the run and who would have put out a bounty of 20,000 credits? Like, that's a lot of credits. Why do you think somebody would be offering this kind of money? Right. And Kaz admits that he hadn't thought about that whatsoever. But with not much else said, they go on their merry way. Doza takes another look at this tile, tells the robot, who he does say the name of as 4D, to keep an eye on Kaz, I believe, right?
Okay.
Doza immediately calls Captain Phasma, passes along the information that he just discovered. So we do get the full confirmation that it is the First Order that placed the bounty on these two children. Phasma claims that the children are of wealthy, high-ranking officials, and they are not military. So that is why there is a high bounty on these children, according to Phasma. There is some sort of wealthy family that wants to find them. We cut back to the children, and they are in hiding. The older kid is named as Kel, as in Keenan and Kel, K-E-L. And the younger is Ela, or Isla, E-I-L-A.
Now, did you catch this from the credits, or did they speak their names anywhere in this episode?
Yes, they say it to each other.
Okay.
So
in this scene?
yes.
Okay.
So they are in hiding, or they were in the market again or something like that, and they were about to be discovered, and they go running again, and the young. So there's two kids. There's an older boy and a younger girl. The younger girl trips and definitely bashes her knee or something like that.
I feel like she hurts herself during the collision with Kaz and BB-8.
It could be possible. The injury that gets named is really weird, but she is hurt in some form. So she's like, Kel, I think my leg is broken. Mm-hmm. And then Kel leans in and is like, well, Isla, like, you know, we got to keep moving, but let me take a look at that. So they do name each other in this scene.
I missed that.
They are spoken aloud.
Gotcha.
They are found by these the shell folk, the Chalide, and they are taken down to engineering level. Niku and Kaz go down there and join them. Isla is noted to have a broken leg and fever.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have a conversation where they reveal that they are the only survivors of an attack on the from a village on Tehar.
Correct.
So their village was destroyed by Kylo Ren. There is a full mention of Kylo Ren here.
Correct.
Kaz connects the dots and realizes that they were attacked by the First Order. And he promises these two children protection.
Yes, because at this point, like Kaz is like, "Hey, I found you. I'm gonna help you get home. I'm gonna get my money because, what's his name? Kel, the older kid.
Kel.
Kel.
Yes.
Kel says you only want us for the money, and Kaz is like, no, like I'm trying to help you. Like money is a benefit, definitely. But the kids say, "Hey, we're not lost. We ran away," and then they regurgitate this information of Kylo Ren and what happened on Tehar, and they're the last of their kind, and Kylo came in and fucking killed everybody and wiped everybody out. They managed to escape.
Mm-hmm.
They hopped a freighter, which ended up on the Colossus, so that's how they ended up where they are.
Right. Yeah, so their parents are dead, whole village is dead, everybody they know is dead. Let's see. So the First Order makes it onto the Colossus.
Really fast.
Yes, really quickly. In order to help Ayla's leg, Niku, Kel, and Kaz all head to the market to try and find supplies. They end up buying some herbs, and in the market, they spot that the First Order stormtroopers are there. There is 2 generic white stormtroopers and 1 gold commander. This is Commander Pyre.
So I was wondering if this guy is gold or bronze, and we can talk about it now. We can talk about it later. Up to you.
Let's barrel through, and then we'll get back.
Done.
So this is Commander Pyre. He does note, or he notices Kel. Kel, Kaz, Niku hide in a chute, and the stormtroopers give chase. They make Kaz and company make their way down into the engineering level with the other Chalide. First Order start carving their way in through the blast doors, all that stuff. Kaz comes up with some sort of plan. He starts lifting a grate.
Well, he tries to.
Tries, yeah. So First Order make their way in, and they spot the 2 kids. They tell the kids to go with them. That grate in the floor is wide open. The 2 kids, Kel and Isla, they jump into the grate, into the waters below. The stormtroopers take a look over. They have a scanner, and the life signs are slowing down. So they give Phasma a call, and they're like, "Hey, these kids are gone. We saw them fall into the water. There's nothing left of these children." So they exit the engineering level. The shell folk look over into the little hole where the 2 children simply jumped into a lower platform off to the side. The splash that we saw down on the bottom was actually 2 other shell folk who were able to just protect themselves going down. And there was a reveal earlier that they had this weird ability to slow down their system functions.
Yeah, Niku calls it going dormant.
Right. So that's all they did. They just jumped in, went dormant, and then as soon as First Order left, they just swam back up to the surface, and they were sound as a pound. At the same time, the Chalide, being engineers that they are, they were able to fix the compensator that Kaz actually has been lugging around. There was one scene of that. We get one quick little scene of Doza taking another look at this little symbol tile thing. We still get no meaning for it, but we do see that Doza has his mind on it. Kaz does try to reconnect with Poe in that the First Order is on site. He instead reaches Ello, and Ello mentions that Poe is on a mission. I did not look up what mission this might possibly be if we know about this mission.
I would imagine that we probably don't, as this is a fresh series. Like, are you thinking that maybe in the EU it may be covered, or
in the comics,
the Poe Dameron comic?
Yeah, in the Poe Dameron comics, he is on the search for an egg right around this time. So
Okay.
I'm curious if this is the same mission. I am not caught up on the comics. I am behind as of like a year. I have not been as diligent reading the comics as I was prior to a year ago. But yeah, he's bouncing around. There are things happening. So I'm curious if this is the exact same thing that they're thinking about. But Poe is on a mission, so I like that. Sorry, let me close this out and then we'll get back. That's actually as I look down, that's about the last note I have. So Tam is happy that the compensator is fixed, and Kaz is able to give intel to the Resistance. Elo commends him for that, and basically we cue fanfare, right?
Yep, cue fanfare.
Cue fanfare. All right, did it. We got through the episode in about 15-ish minutes. I think that's probably our best time in run through one of these suckers.
I agree.
All right, buddy. What you got? What do you got here?
So, where do I want to start? We'll start with this off-colored stormtrooper.
Right.
You called him gold. I called him bronze. I don't feel like he should be gold unless, I guess, maybe Phasma is like platinum. Because I feel like we should be going in like elevated levels of precious metals here. Either way, it doesn't, I don't care what color he is. It's weird that we have another like shiny stormtrooper.
Yeah, it is. It is weird, and I'm curious why these two happen to be shiny when we never really got anything of the sort before. We never got chromed out clones, have we?
No. I mean, like camouflage. We've had like some sand
troopers
or like tan colored ones, and black ones. We've had shadow troopers, but Phasma was the first like chrome plated, if you want to call her that, right? And then to kind of like, I guess that makes sense because she is essentially like the commander of all of the clone or all of the troopers, right?
Right.
Presumably. So to like throw this guy in, it just seems kind of weird because I feel like we should have seen that elsewhere. And
I don't disagree. Yeah.
You have more knowledge of the more recent comics, so is that something that's been in the comics?
I'm not gonna lie, I have not seen Commander Pyre anywhere prior to this, and I haven't seen any other than Von Reg in this own series that is red.
And I guess I'm okay with that because it's just like
because he's not chromed out.
Yeah, because he's not reflective plated.
Right. He's a matte red. Yeah, there's a matte finish on his.
And maybe that's it. So
or he's as glossy as every other stormtrooper that is like. So he's still right. Yeah, Von Reg is like the stormtroopers are still all glossy, but they aren't chromed.
Correct.
Yes.
So I agree.
I haven't seen in my run-ins with the EU of current story group approved EU. I have not come across another chromed stormtrooper other than Phasma. So I agree. It's weird, but he has like the shoulder padding. He has like the exact same shoulder padding that Phasma has.
Yeah, but Phasma's got like a cape. He's got like it's like a commander shoulder pad is what he's got, which is what they call him.
Right. So why send this dude after these two children?
I don't know. The only thing I can think of is that they're gonna like transition Gwendolyn Christie and Captain Phasma like less and less in the show, and this guy's going to be more and more. I don't know. That's the only thing I can think of. If this is a one and done character, then I say Filoni baloney on this one.
I don't disagree. I would like to note that Filoni doesn't have that much control over this episode or this show. He's executive producer, but he's not show running it.
I totally agree with you, but I don't have another rhyme schemed.
I just want to throw blame appropriately.
Yes. Shall we cast aspersions? We should at least cast them in the proper directions.
Right. Like, he's still executive producing, but in the day-to-day, who is running the show? Off the top of my head, I don't know. But he still gets very prominent credit at the end of each episode, you know. Whereas Clone Wars, it was a lot of, like, Lucas was the first name you'd see. Filoni, I think, still is one of the first names you see after the fanfare strikes.
I agree with you.
So I have a question about. Yeah. Go ahead.
Nope.
The scene where they try to get some supplies to help Ela's broken leg.
Mm-hmm.
Why do they let Kel go?
Because Kaz is a terrible spy and
right.
Niku is an ultra literal being. So,
like, they're looking for him. So why? And it's like broad daylight.
No disguise or anything. Maybe it's because he lost his little symbol tile, so nobody thought that anybody else would know who he was.
Right, that one symbol. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
a bad decision, but at the same time, I guess it's okay because he knows what his sister needs.
I guess, but it's still another one of those weird things where it's like, I need this specific herb to use as a compress for my sister's broken leg.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. No. What? No. Not at all.
She's got a fever. She's got some sort of infection. She needs
actual
attention.
Medical, yeah. Like an actual, like, can't they get like a Medroid to not say anything? I don't.
You would think so.
Understand, yeah. Anyways, that's what I got on that one. I just wanted, that was by far the biggest what the fuck moment of this episode. That stood out to me there, anyways.
Speaking of them going to what I am calling the bazaar, the Colossus Bazaar, Niku pays for the herbs. Earlier, he paid for Kaz's water. Actually, I figured water was free at Aunt Z's, but apparently it's not. And
no, you know Aunt Z, man. She charging for everything.
Kaz drops down.
You don't want Kaz take.
Kaz drops down like 4 credits, and that gets him like 1 sip of water.
Right.
That shit's expensive.
Yeah, I don't know what the translation of credits is. You know, like, these children are worth 20,000, I guess.
I'm only guessing that he had like a previous tab, and she gave him a water. Maybe water is free, right? She gives him water, and he slaps down some credits, and then she yanks the water back out of his hand. She's like, because she says, no, you're, it's something like, with what you paid, your drink ran out 2 sips ago, and he only had like 1 sip. So he was, he was overdrawn on his Aunt Z account anyway.
Right.
But,
I think that's what it is for sure.
Yeah. Niku says, essentially, you know, I have the money and I spend the money where it is needed. And in this case, it's needed to buy this to get the girl what she needs. So I thought that, I know you have issues with his character sometimes, but I really liked Niku throughout this episode. Like, he's simply doing what needs to be done for his friend and for strangers, like doing what's right. And I thought that was really awesome.
I will agree with you for this episode.
Cool.
Niku as a character, I can see being perfectly fine if the writing can support it. I agree with you. Here, it's the flourishes of the good that is within him that get pushed to the surface that I really appreciated.
Yeah, and sometimes he comes across as naive, and this episode he does not. He's not a naive person. He's got connections. He knows people. He's doing the right thing, and he's just like a good-hearted, honest person.
I agree. So that's where I get very bothered with like the previous episode where he plays this like weird bumbling fool that just walks straight into danger without thinking about consequences, right? It's a weird dichotomy to me.
And maybe we're going to see the progression more in this side of things, even if he does have those ultra literal moments. And, so be it at that point.
Yeah.
In contrast, we have Kaz, who whatever he's doing in this episode is weird. Like, he's trying to help. He's definitely, without Niku, he would have just been walking around through the bazaar all day long, right?
Yeah.
And then we have this moment with the grate at the end, and it's Kaz's idea of how to save these kids. And he's like, quick, help me open this grate. And he's yanking on it. And then Kel just like walks over and opens it up from the other end.
Right.
Because Kaz is pulling on like the hinge side.
Yeah.
And then we have this weird recurring joke where this inertial compensator, like everyone else can just pick it up. But as soon as they hand it to Kaz, he like holds it for a second and then he like drops it to the floor because it's super heavy or something. Like,
yeah.
I don't know if this is just comic relief. I didn't know what was going on. That was my biggest complaint in this episode. Because it's not a funny joke. It's
definitely low-hanging fruit when it
weird.
comes to a joke. It's a joke that has been done to death. I'm sure there's some 6-year-old who has never seen it and will find it very, very funny. I agree with you. It played fine at first, but then it just kept reappearing, and it was not a joke that needed to reappear.
And I know there's like the rule of 3 where it's like the first time it's funny, the second time it's stupid, the third time it's funny again. But it wasn't really funny any of the times.
No.
And it didn't fit into what else was going on.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I'm glad you brought up Kaz and that we can focus on him a little bit because his motivation is super unclear to me throughout this episode. Because
at first it was money.
Right.
And then when
the kids run into him.
Yeah, the business with him and Doza like opens his eyes a little bit, like, hey, consider why this situation is happening. And then it doesn't really click with him until he actually talks to the kids. And the children from Tehar explain what's going on. And he's like, okay, not worried about the money anymore. Now I'm worried about what is right for you guys. And this is what we're going to do. I'll do anything I can to help you.
Yeah. And that sense of progression is fine. It's just like in the early stages of it, it's definitely muddled. Because in the market, you can see the moment where Kaz does see these children as human, as as far as I know, they're human. But he sees how scared they are, right? But
well, this is before he realizes that they're the bounty, right?
Right.
Because he wants to help them because they're like scared little kids that are getting chased by this dude, and obviously they need some help. So he's got like a purity of heart, and then he's like, "Oh shit, that's my 20 grand. Now I'm motivated by the money," and then he comes back to it.
Yeah, like exactly, because you get the flash that Kaz is like a normal, caring person for a hot second, but then he's still running after these children without thinking of it. And then even after the Doza moment, it clicks that Kaz hadn't thought about it, but then we don't.
But he still doesn't think about it.
Yeah, until the children tell him that they are refugees, essentially.
Right.
Then we get the explicit moment of Kaz going, no, I'm going to help you. I'm here to actually help you. This is not a simple bounty. This is not whatever, right?
Yeah, because at first they're like, we know why you're here. You're here for the money. And he's like, well, yeah, but I mean, also I want to help you. And then they're like, we're not kidnapped. We're not lost. Like, we're on the run for this reason. And then he's like,
Yeah.
oh, then the light bulb goes on.
Right. And again, the fact that Kaz is a spy who is there to gather intel, but can't even simply ask these two kids, like, hey, what is going on? Like, you guys are lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's the kids who have to broach that topic to him.
Kaz is very unidirectional, where
yes,
like he's either I'm a spy, or I'm doing this, or I'm flying, or I'm at Aunt Z's. He's not a multitasker. So when he is chasing these kids, he's like money, 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 and then so he doesn't have that ability to collect information and actually be a fucking spy, right?
Right.
So that's what I have to say about him. And that I did like the tie-in to an earlier episode where his first means of escape when they're in the bazaar is the chutes, right? And I think that goes all the way back to the recruit when he accidentally gets himself stuck in that box and then pushed down a chute to like the lower level. I fully expected them to come out in the Angry Birds parts shop or whatever it is.
Right.
That's where I expected them to end up. But instead they were just like on a lower level, and that's fine. But I like how we're starting to see little pieces. You know, the first 3 or 4 episodes were kind of set up for what was going on. And
right.
I gave him 3 thumbs up. You did not. I think you gave him 1 up, 2 down, or 1 up, 3 down, or whatever. I think we're moving past that. And we're starting to see some bits and pieces of things that happened that are, as we see things happening in this episode, it's like, oh, okay, like, I understand the geography a little bit more because this makes sense that Kaz would know where this thing is because of this foolish thing that happened to him in the past, and maybe he is learning from his previous experiences just a little bit. He's not 100% fly by the seat of his pants.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he knows these grates drop down to as Niku calls it, what's he call the water?
I don't remember.
The icy waters of bodily destruction and certain death. From that race that he had with Frodo, and I just see some stuff popping up from earlier episodes, and it's nice in these moments.
Right. So, first note that I forgot to mention: Kel is voiced by Anthony Del Rio, and Ila is voiced by Nikki Suhu. So I just want to give those credits. The Chalide are all voiced by Frank Welker, which I found interesting. So
okay.
So
Commander,
those are, yeah. Go ahead.
Commander Pyre is voiced by Liam McIntyre, and Elo Asti is voiced by Matthew Wood, who is essentially the dude that kind of took over for Ben Burt and is all of the battle droids in the Clone Wars. And last note on Elo Asti, direct reference to the Beastie Boys and Hello Nasty.
Yes, yeah.
J.J. Abrams is a big Beastie Boys fan, so that's...
It's the names that came out of Force Awakens are interesting because you got that one, and then Maz Kanata is another song reference, which is Mas Kanata, which is Sergio Mendes off of Brazil 66, which is a great song.
Nice.
So Mas Kanata, that's where that came from too. So yeah, 2 song references, and they could not be farther apart either in terms of styling. But
the last question I got for you is this symbol on this tile that Kel was wearing / carrying. When we first see these kids in hollow form, when these other two bar patrons are talking about the bounty, that's what Kaz like narrows in on, is like the symbol. And he's like, Niku, do you see that symbol? Like, if we find the kids with that symbol, we'll know who they are by that symbol. And
or you can just look at the kid's face.
Right. And we'll be able to collect the bounty. And then they get the tile, and then they give it to Doza. And Doza looks at it. And when Doza is talking to Phasma, he's like, I see this symbol, and it doesn't look like anything with the First Order. And she's like, yeah, blah, blah, gives her explanation. And then later when we see Doza again, he's looking at this tile and like in contemplation. So I don't know if this is going to be like a bigger thing, or if it's just overly concentrated on in this episode, because it comes up like 4 times.
I'm curious about the symbol as well. From this episode alone, what I got out of it is that Doza knows he's being lied to, but he might be in some sort of bind with the First Order, right? The First Order is laying heavy pressure on him. But what I'm getting from it is that Doza isn't a fool with the First Order, right?
I agree with you.
He's just out of options when it comes to the First Order.
Is he like a Lando type character then? Because I feel like
that's a good analogy there. Yeah,
I feel like it's a little bit different than that, where Lando, back in Empire Strikes Back, comes off more as opportunistic, where he's like, the Empire was here and like I had to do what I had to do. Okay, I get that. Here, it seems like, I don't know, it seems like there were other options. Maybe there were, maybe there weren't. I don't know. It's similar but different, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Well, because like Doza's trying to run some sort of like legitimate platform, right? Like he's like, there's an economy.
Well, not
happening.
According to Aunt Z in the High Tower, right? So, I think we'll figure it out along the way, but
yeah, I just don't know if this symbol will come up specifically, but because from what we know, like everybody the children know are dead, right?
Yes, but we know that Kylo Ren was targeting Tehar specifically, and that they needed to. Okay, here's one thing that I know that that we may have accidentally skipped over, but when Pyre thinks that these kids died, he calls Phasma, and what he says is mission accomplished, and then Phasma says, now the name Tehar will fade from memory. Our plans will remain safely out of the hands of the Resistance. So I'm guessing, pure speculation here, people, but I'm thinking that those would be the plans for Starkiller Base.
Yeah, this is Starkiller.
So we have this weird Rogue One parallel where the children of Tehar are Jyn Erso, essentially.
Basically, yeah.
And the symbol maybe is like the Stardust data tape.
Something like that. So the children know that that Starkiller exists, basically, right?
I guess. So here's what I'm thinking this season is going to do is Kaz is going to get some information out of these kids along the way. These kids aren't gone. Mm-hmm. He's going to find out that there is some information for some big plan. I'm using air quotes here that you guys can't see. He's actually going to do some spy work, maybe bringing Niku along on this adventure, and he's going to find the plans for Starkiller Base, and that's going to be his big accomplishment of Season 1. I'm calling it now.
Okay.
Or at least he's going to find out that Starkiller Base is a thing that they need to pursue to find the information and said plans about in a future season.
I need to rewatch Force Awakens, but Starkiller is a surprise to everybody, isn't it?
Yeah, but then they have, like, the plans to the base. Because they have that projection. They have that whole scene where Han Solo's like, all right, so it's like the Death Star, but bigger.
But bigger, right.
Right.
Yeah, I guess. It's just, but Poe still doesn't know about it until that moment, though, right? Or...
Well, because he's on a secret mission to uncharted space.
And as we know, in The Last Jedi, he is really good at not telling people shit, so...
But he doesn't like when people don't tell him shit.
Don't tell him shit either. Right. Yeah, it's a one-way street there for sure with Poe. But, so
that's all my questions I got for you. I don't know if you got any more questions for me.
No, that's kind of everything I got for this episode.
Okay.
Want to just do our final thumbs up, thumbs down, get on out of here?
Yeah, thumbs up, thumbs down, and one-word wrap-up.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's a thing we do on this on this show.
I'll forget that every time until maybe the season is over. I'll let you start.
It's kind of like what you do with the quote at
the quotes.
Beginning.
Yeah.
And the fortune cookie quote. But yeah, I
come up with it on the fly.
I'm solid thumbs up on this episode. In first couple, I had to give the benefit of the doubt, and then I was like, okay, like kind of a thumbs up with expectations. But this one, I'm just solid thumbs up. Like, if this would have been the first episode, or even like if this would have been the second episode of this show, and we just cut out, what do we have in between? What was after the recruit? If we cut out Triple Dark, Fuel for the Fire, Hightower, okay, maybe because we had to introduce Doza,
right?
But if we would have went the recruit, the Hightower, the children from Tehar, we'd be 3 episodes into the show, and I would be all gung ho, like full speed ahead, or ahead full, as Obi-Wan would say, and I'd be all for it. So I'm solid thumbs up.
And I agree with you. Thumbs up for me on this one.
Wow. Yeah. All right, man.
I absolutely agree. We finally get a story. The story finally does a thing where, yes, there is a specific story to this episode, but it starts layering in the larger universe, so we get like a larger arc for the show, you know? But this episode still ends. There's still a very definitive, like, hey, we solved the problem of this episode. And I agree with you. Yeah, if it went from Recruit, Hightower to this one, I would feel so much better about this show.
We would have some momentum, like the Triple Dark and Fuel for the Fire. I think Fuel for the Fire especially, like...
Yeah, Fuel for the Fire was just nonsense. Because Triple Dark, again, did that weird thing where, like, there was the episode, and the episode had its own story. And then the last 60 seconds of that episode was, hey, look, it's Phasma. See, there is a bigger picture here.
Right.
I'm like, I guess. But what the fuck was this other 20 minutes of bullshit we had to sit through?
Okay, so here's what we do. We take the Recruit and we take the Triple Dark and we smash those together so that you can introduce the pirates in the Recruit.
Are the pirates even fucking necessary though?
If they're necessary, I don't know. I'm just saying. If this season needs the pirates, that's where you do it. Then you fucking forget about Fuel for the Fire. And in the Hightower, we already talk about Yeager and his previous piloting and whatnot. Right. And then we drop the children from Tehar. We're 3 episodes in. And we've got some momentum. Things are building. We're seeing stuff that we saw in the first 2 episodes come into relevance, which makes those episodes better. We're also pulling from a larger universe, from live action, from comics, from whatever, pulling it all into this thing, and we're moving forward at approach velocity. Not quite, but we're building up, and you know, like I said, we're building some momentum and we're moving forward.
And by no means do I think that would have made Kaz's growth and arc between our 3 chosen episodes too quick, because he still fucks up a lot in this episode.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
we did talk about how Niku is the dude in this episode, and Kaz is the Jar Jar.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So I agree. So there still would be room for. I mean, there still is room for improvement from Kaz, and that's perfectly fine. We're still only 5 episodes in,
Right.
to a complete series.
Right. Exactly.
But I would have felt better not knowing that Kaz is a complete fucking idiot based on Triple Dark and Fuel for the Fire. Because
I agree.
His character just gets pushed so far down that now we're like getting back to where it should have like started, maybe. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like his character regresses so much that it's like, oh, okay, now we got to make up.
Now we got to build him back up.
Right.
Did you like that voice crack there?
Right. Yeah. But yeah, just to even get back to like level 0, right? Like, so I agree. This is a solid episode, and I really, like you said, I like the opening of the world of the Colossus, and I don't know why I really liked the Cholide, even though they were just kind of hanging out. I thought
they were
funny.
awesome. Like,
yeah,
there's Ninja Turtles in the Star Wars universe, and
I dig it.
They're not teenage, and they may not be mutant, and I guess they're not ninja, but we got some big...
fucking helpful.
They're very helpful.
And they seem very
informational tortoises.
They seem very kind.
Mm-hmm.
And when they feel like it, they just pass the fuck out and nobody cares.
I think it's awesome that Niku has like this hidden network of friends.
Right.
Like he's so down to earth and like friendly with everybody.
Yeah.
That he has this underground network of people that he can call upon to fucking help him out.
Now, okay, this is a question that just popped in my head. Last question. Why does it matter if Niku knows or not Kaz's true purpose of being there? Because Niku kind of has seen a lot at this point.
I think if Kaz were to come out and be like, Niku, I'm a spy, then Niku would be like walking around like, hey, Kaz isn't really the best fighter or
very good point.
Fighter pilot in the galaxy. He's actually a spy. He's looking for information. Can anybody help him out?
Very good point.
I think that's
follow-up question. By end of at least season 1, will Niku and Tam be pulled into spy shit?
I think maybe Tam will. I don't know about Niku.
Okay.
It's delicate because you would have to like maybe
I agree with what you said about Niku. Yeah.
I think maybe he might be included in like the mission of finding out more information about Starkiller Base, but without knowing that he's on a spy mission. Just like thinking that his friend has this weird obsession with the First Order and he's helping him out with it.
Okay. I think, yeah, those are sound predictions / thoughts, hopes.
Sure.
I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. Because Tam kind of takes a backseat in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
So
I did like that Yeager popped up for all of one line because
right.
He was not in the high tower at all that I remember.
No, I don't recall.
So, in Fuel for the Fire, he was just there to get robbed from, and then be in like a picture
Triple Dark.
with his family.
Right. Yeah, Triple Dark. He's like the proprietor that pulls in the dude, but yeah. Yeager still is the only guy who fully knows the Kaz's situation. But yeah, Tam kind of takes a backseat. So I'm curious about what arc we're gonna get out of Tam. Because
I think she's gonna come around, and she's gonna end up using, the fireball to benefit Kaz.
Yeah, I agree with that. I can see that going there. So.
Yep.
But yeah, that's everything I got.
All right. Boil this down to one word. What is your review of the children from Tehar in one word.
This one's even more difficult because, unlike Trump, I'm not good with words.
You don't have to use all the words. You just have to use one word.
But I know all the good words.
I say that this episode is misdirecting.
I don't know about that one. I'm going to say that Kaz finally learns empathy. Not sympathy, but empathy.
Empathetic?
Yeah, so empathetic. Yeah, Kaz finally starts to realize that there are other fucking people in this galaxy. You know, He might not feel everything for them, so that's why I'm going to go with empathetic and not sympathetic. Right. But we're seeing the early stages of Kaz being not a dickhole.
Okay.
That's how I'm going to put that.
Sure.
So
yeah, I called this misdirective because it is like, I feel like half of this episode we're being like showed one thing and then, or told one thing and then like shown another. We got it going on with Doza. We got it going on with this whole bounty. We got it going on with Kaz's plan to save these kids. I saw it coming, and I didn't know how it was going to pan out, and it worked, and I was happy.
Like I said, there's still parts at the beginning of this episode that are definitely muddled, right? But I agree with you. This is a solid thumbs up episode. The writing is much stronger here. There are still things that need to be tweaked a little bit, right? I wouldn't call the show great by any means yet. This is definitely a solid episode. I wouldn't even. Again, as the analogy I used for Hightower, right? If somebody were to ask me, should they get into the show? After Children of Tehar, I would say it's okay. We're getting there. You know, things aren't great yet, but it's still, we are finally moving in a position where I can be like, okay, there's some substance here that a Star Wars fan might want to think about getting into.
I agree with you.
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yes. Did we mention writer-director on this one?
No.
Do you have that info?
Not off the top of my head. If you got it, go for it.
So, director is Saul Ruiz and written by Paul Giacopo. So, that, I believe, is the credits that we should be giving to those sections. And
very nice.
Other than we're still 34 ABY, that's all I got for this one.
Yeah. Cool.
Plug time?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. So we just want to give our normal thanks to Lindsay at strangefantasymusic@gmail.com. She is in charge of she put together the music that you hear at the beginning and end of each episode. We also like to give a shout out to Kevin Warren, who put together our Hero Pose artwork. That is our cover art for the podcast. You can reach out to him at They Call Me KDeb on Twitter. If you'd like to reach out to us, you can reach out to us via email. That's notthenerdspodcast@gmail.com. Otherwise, reach out. Kevin's in charge of our Twitter. That's at NotTheNerds. We also have a Facebook at Not The Nerds Podcast. Also, just like, subscribe, review us, rate us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. We also have the audio going to YouTube as well. So
yeah, if you like
any of these places,
if you like this, give us a thumbs up, give us that 5-star review, and more importantly, tell a friend.
Right. Yeah.
So we're just two dudes that like talking about Star Wars, and if you like hearing our opinions, share it with a friend. We like to share our opinions. Maybe you will too.
We'll talk to you next week, everybody. These have not been the nerds you're looking for.